Look out for another full face of Korean makeup, and it might actually not be a disaster. Because your girl's been collecting. Hi, it's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what up, home skillet biscuit? I've been gone for a minute, okay. Well, to be honest with you, I'm probably the only person that noticed I was gone for so long because, you know, YouTubers always come back and was like, I'm sorry, you guys missed me. But nobody really missed you. They didn't notice that you were gone, but they were just like, oh, okay. But you notice because you make the content, so like the longer you don't, you're like, wow. I've been meaning to like take a little time off anyway because I could tell I was burning myself out. Self-care and all that, big proponent of that because I realized I had been neglecting my self-care recently, and I feel like it's always healthy for people to take a break, decompress, you know, get used to that feeling of relaxation. That's a big thing for me. I don't know how to relax when it comes to like not having something that I have to do. And when I took away videos for a second, the first few days were rough. I wanted to do something. But then I started to relax. I started listening to podcasts, becoming one with myself, thinking more about like, you know, stuff like that, changing my diet. Like, not gonna go into that because I always jinx it whenever I bring it up. So I'm just not going to talk about it that extensively. And just being at one with, you know, myself and learning how to relax. It's hard for us Capricorns, apparently. I always make like Capricorn jokes, even though I'm not a huge astrology person. But people always like assume that the reason why I am the way I am is because I'm a Capricorn. So I just made a meme of it, basically. Anywho, this video is way longer awaited than I planned on it to be. I expected to have this video up a long time ago. But today we are reviewing the Innisfree Matte Full Cover Foundation SPF 17. This is, as far as I know, the latest expansion as far as color expansion for Innisfree. You know that I like to review Korean products, especially Korean products that are willing to take that jump to make darker shade ranges. I am more than willing to, you know, put that coin towards, you know, learning what's good. Like, is it any good? I'd love to know who this is good for. Before I get started, of course, you should subscribe. Thank you. Subscribe because, like, your girl took her nails off and she's feeling really sad right now because her hands look all stubby. But it's because, like, when I lift weights, like, they, like, get in the way or, like, stuff like that. So it's a long story, but basically they keep popping it off when I go to the gym and it's just really frustrating, so I just pop them all off. Anyway, so subscribe to Stubby Hand Kennie. I should paint them then. They look really bad. Okay. So Innisfree is a Korean brand that, again, I'm going to put more support towards because they're the only ones that are just like very much so taking at least their US expansion very seriously as far as shade range goes. I believe it's 14 shades of their cushions, both cushions. They've expanded the powders. I also have the powder. I should try that out today as well. And now their liquid foundation, which has 21 shades. Not only is it 21 shades, and some of which actually go significantly dark. There are two or three shades darker than me in this foundation. And it's also divided into warm, cool, neutral. I need to work on my posture. My posture sucks, dude. Because I always look like hunched over like this. Okay. Now, this is not a first impression review. I'm actually really glad that this isn't a first impression review because my opinions about certain things about the foundation has changed. So I'm happy that I can give you guys a more thorough review as opposed to like a first impression where your thoughts can wax and wane one way or another. So the two colors that I got, Neutral 35 Cinnamon, and this is it swatched right here. And then I got Warm 37 Golden Tan. So these two swatches have been here for about 5-10 minutes and they have not dried down yet. So note that when it dries down fully, the color will be darker, significantly darker. I found that I can't really wear one of these or the other. There is one other color I want to try and see if that foundation color would be a best match for me as opposed to this one, which takes a while to dry down, so it's hard to tell if this would work by itself, especially as the weather is getting warmer and I'm getting tanner and that whole thing. But as far as the darker red one, oh no, can't wear it by itself. Made that mistake. As it dried down and it does oxidize a bit, I look like a stop sign. My ideal color is to have most of the lighter one and just a hair of the darker one. That's a little bit more red. So let's bring you in and
can see how it applies.
You smell all nice. You smell like candy and buttermilk biscuits. So this is a matte quote-unquote foundation, and if you notice that these swatches don't look very matte at all, but it's also because they're not completely dry. This foundation takes a long time to dry down, I noticed. It does dry down completely, but it will take a hot minute. I'm shaking them up, and I'm going to apply the lighter one, which is W35. No, N35. The color name is Cinnamon. So I haven't put any primer on my face because I don't think... I feel like primers can obstruct like the point of a foundation review. And I don't wear primers very often anyway, so no point. So if you see what I mean, you see how like light it looks? I haven't tried it just this color, so let me see if I could get away with just this color after the dry down. I found that this is true also with like Fenty foundation, and I've talked about it's not my favorite attribute of a foundation because it's like I want the color in the bottle to match the color that it will be when it's on my face even after dry down. It's already hard enough to buy a foundation online, but then you buy the color that you think is your color and then it looks all funky because it dries down like more red or more yellow or whatever. So when foundations do this, it's like not a good thing to me. I feel like color accuracy, especially again because most people will be buying this foundation online. This foundation, as far as I'm aware, or any of the like darker color foundations from Innisfree, are only available in the United States, and that sucks. That also sucks. I guess they're like testing it out to see like how well it will do and then bringing it to any other stores in the near future. So I'm sure if Innisfree gets enough feedback, like, yo, we want it here in Canada, we want it in England, we want it here, there, wherever, I'm sure they will definitely, you know, take that into account. So let your voices be heard. Okay, so I'm looking ash-tastic. It's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need some of the darker color, even if this dries down. But let's talk about the first layer though. This foundation claims to be matte and full coverage. Upon first application, it is neither of those. It is like, that's a dew I see there, that's a glow. And it's also not full coverage. This is like maybe a medium, very light medium. See, it's getting so much darker as it sits. It's so fascinating. When reading like the reviews from people that have purchased it, they said it's really, really good on oily skin. So I'm gonna just tell you that I've heard a lot of people say it's really good for oily skin. I'm gonna do another layer, but I'm gonna mix a few drops of the darker foundation in it as well. Mostly the lighter color, but a little bit of the darker. So the mistake I made a different day was using only the darker or mostly the darker. I realized very quickly that that is not the right thing for me to do. As you can see, I'm quite neutral, like undertoned. So I thought just because it's darker, it'll still work fine. But as it dries, that red becomes very, very apparent. So I suspect that all of the warm undertone ones will have a significantly heavy pink or red undertone. So note that. And I believe the darkest colors are all in that warm family. Like, I think there's a color called chocolate, which seems to go pretty dark. It goes pretty dark, but it's also very red. So again, keep that in mind. Ooh, also price range. This foundation is $20. It's like not as cheap as most like drugstore foundations, but it's not as expensive as, you know, a lot of high-end foundations. It's pretty much mid-range. I am noticing a trend with this foundation, as I notice pretty much with all my Korean foundations at this point, because I'm trying more and more of them, and that SPF shines like a beacon. My face looks very, very washed out on camera right now. And I was looking at my last Get Ready With Me and I noticed it there as well. But in person, it looks fine. If you're trying to use this for camera work, wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it would look good on like photos. I know it won't look good on photos because I wore it to the Dumbfounded concert. Let's talk about that really quick. Like I said, I made the mistake of using only the red foundation or mostly the red foundation. So as it dried, I just had like a beet red face and like a neutral yellow neck. And I tried to fix it with a bunch of powder, ended up glowing brighter than a beacon. James Charles don't have nothing on me. I didn't think it would matter because I was going to a concert, but I ended up meeting a bunch of you guys there, which was really great. But then in hindsight, I was like, oh no, don't take no pictures. It's okay, I think it's funny. But just, again, keep that in mind. If you were trying to wear this for like pictures instead of just like everyday use, wouldn't recommend it. I'm gonna go down my neck because I feel like on camera it looks really, really jarring, which is just so interesting. But yeah, the foundation does take quite a while to dry down, which there's pros and cons to that. I feel like it gives you a good work time. So if you use like cream highlights, cream contours, stuff like that, it's good and malleable to work with. But because you can't tell the actual color until it dries all the way down, like even on my hand, this is still getting darker as it sits here. All right, so here's how we're looking. Again, something about that SPF in this foundation, well, a lot of Korean foundations, it is making me glow like really, really light. But as far as color wise in person, it's really, really good. So this is how my face is looking. This is without powder. So here's how we're looking with like 2-ish layers of foundation. This is like a medium. I think we could go full, but it was pretty buildable. It doesn't look cakey. It looks really, really smooth. Doesn't really look cakey around my nose. This is a foundation that if you're dry, I would not powder. I'm gonna need to contour because my ears are like mad yellow, and this is like super neutral, which is strange because I mixed the redder foundation in, whatever. But as far as the finish, I really, really like this slightly shiny finish, but it gets, like I said, it gets madder and madder as it sits. So I'm also gonna try the powder because it's here. I didn't realize that this was supposed to be set up the same way their cushions are. If you're not familiar with their cushions, basically you buy the cushion itself and then you buy the compact and you buy the puff and all that. Apparently the powders are set up the same way, so it just came like this. Like, I was just like, what about it? What about it? But I got this also in W37 warm up the sides of my face, and I feel like this would be a really good bronzer for me. Look out for another full face of Korean makeup, and it might actually not be a disaster because your girl's been collecting. I can't tell if it's bronzing me or not. It might just be too close to my skin tone. Even if it is too close to my skin tone, it's fine. I'm gonna just like use it to set this area. I'm trying to pat this instead of swiping too much because I don't want the foundation to move, because again, it stays malleable for a while. Also, I don't want to powder all over the face because again, I like this finish. Okay, so I'm gonna do my under eye. I've been really, really enjoying mixing the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer and the Taping Concealer Longwear by Espoir and mixing those together because I just like the way the textures go together. So this is Radiant Creamy in Caramel and then Espoir in Deep. So I am gonna set my under eye because I have that concealer down, but I'm gonna avoid powdering like the entire face. So there you have it. This is how my base looks. This is how we're looking up close. I think it looks really, really good, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go put on the rest of my makeup and do my hair and get myself together, you know, all that jazz. And I will see you guys in a bit. This lip color is mad pretty. Okay, so I'm back. This is with all the rest of my makeup on. I'm still noticing that I look washed out on camera. So this is definitely like a real life foundation because right now I'm looking mad gray, but I'm kind of gray anyway, but it's like looking very gray for some reason. Assuming it's the SPF. In person, we were looking very, very good. I look really, really nice right now. So like I said before, I did not powder all over my face. I just powdered directly under my eyes and then around the perimeter so that I could apply my powder products, and it seems to be laying really well. Everything blended really well and it looks really nice. So right now is 6:26 p.m. I'm gonna be cooking, I'm gonna be filming other videos, and hopefully I can come back to you guys in a few hours and maybe 4 or 5 hours and see how everything's looking. And so far so good. Anyway, so I'll see you guys in a bit. So here's where I am right now. It's 12:30 in the morning and I'm tired. But this is how the foundation's looking. It's still looking really, really nice. It's been really hot in my house today. Also, I've been cooking, steaming, all up in my face. I made steamed broccoli and steamed cauliflower. I made mashed cauliflower. It was really good. So the steam was all up in my face. And it looks really, really good. This is how we're looking up close. It didn't really settle weird in any places. I was surprised it didn't start looking a little bit more dry. It looks good. I like it. 0 to 1 being like, this is trash, and 5 being like, this is the best thing that's ever existed ever. Everyone needs this in their life. I would give it a solid 4. Like, it's really good, and especially if you can find a good color match for you, I think it's a really good foundation. I think it's good for a lot of skin types. The only concern I have is maybe if you're very dry, it might cling to like dry patches, but in fairness, it's not necessarily advertised to be towards very dry skin. It's a matte foundation, but on my like normal dry skin, settled pretty okay. My driest patch is usually near the nose, and like it looks all right to me, other than the color being a little funky. And that could also be my bad. I could have just picked the wrong color, because again, I had to buy online, and it dries a different color than when it's like first applied. I don't know, maybe I should try one of the cooler colors, because maybe their cool is more strong yellow. Every makeup brand has a different definition of what cool and warm is, so apparently their warm means red undertone. Maybe yellow undertone, like a stronger yellow undertone would help me. I don't know. I'm tired, but either way, I think it's a good foundation. I think it's worth trying, especially if you're in an area where you have an Innisfree. If you're one of the lucky few that can see it in person, I definitely recommend you going in, swatching, walk around for like a half an hour, and then come back. Like if you're going shopping, like do that, because I feel like shades, it changes, and that's really annoying. So if I had to pick one serious con, the same way I felt about like Fenty foundation, that was a big problem to me personally. I thought that was kind of annoying, but I feel like this foundation, if I were to compare it to Fenty, is a lot more forgiving on a wider array of skin types. It'll be good for most people, just as long as you're not super duper dry. So that's all for this video. If you liked this video and or found it helpful, don't forget to like this video, comment down below, tell me like anything. I don't care. What's your day like? Reading the comments are literally my favorite part of uploading. It really isn't the actual recording process or even the editing. I hate editing. I just really like hearing from you guys. I always find it very, very nice to like read your comments and see, you know, what's up. So just if you want to just talk about something that's going on in your life, you know, just hit me a line. I love reading them. Follow me on my social media. That is Instagram and Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. Subscribe because you watched this long, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.